Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to see how to create this search box with autocomplete. What do I mean by that? So if I type something, let's say a website, we'll see this list of suggestions that is showing up. So these suggestions are coming from an array. So that array is stored into a file called suggestion.js. So in short, these suggestions are coming from a JS file, and that value is getting appended into the list item. Now in case if you are interested in web address, just click on it and you will see the web address got populated. Since it's just only the front end, we are not able to click and visit that link. Now if I type something, let's say the same web address, and I like to go to the website builder and I click on it, and now that list item got populated into the input field. Now we can edit it and click on search. Now as I said, this is created with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. We are not going to use any framework. We will be creating it from scratch, line by line, no copy paste. Now in case if we got stuck somewhere, just copy paste, I'll leave the link in the description of this source code. Just copy paste it and start along with me. Other than that, this, as I said, this is a episode number 83. So in case if you are interested in learning vanilla JavaScript from scratch, I would recommend you to go by this playlist. So this playlist is created by me. I am at the episode number 83 now. Now if you are a very beginner, I would recommend you to start from episode 1 and reach till here. I'll leave the link of this playlist also in the description. Now other than that, what are the topics that we are going to cover? So here in this video we'll be using these function, and I'll be explaining what this function does. Along with, we'll see the theory as we'll see the practical as well, what this function help us to create this UI. Now these are the steps that I have used to create this. I'll leave this in the description as well. Fine, let's get started. Alright, let's start with HTML. So let's see what is the basic requirement for HTML. So as of now, I have created 3 files: HTML file, CSS file and JavaScript file. Now if you are watching, if you have been watching my tutorials, so these are the 3 basic files that we required. And on the CSS I have imported the font awesome pop-ins, and for all element I have removed margin padding and added the font family called pop-ins. And for the background I have added the color blue. Script file is blank. And for the HTML, so the wrapper is the parent. We have 3 siblings. The first one is the search input, the second one is the autocom, and the third one is the icons. So the first search input has the input field, and the second autocom has some list item which will feed with the JavaScript array. We'll be creating a file called suggestions, and we'll be importing all the suggestions from the suggestion.js in the form of array over here as a list item. So we'll be doing this in the HTML, and then we have our icon, and this has a font awesome icon which is search. So if you notice, in the header I have a font awesome CDN, and then we have a external style sheet, and then at the footer we have a external script tag. So that is clear for the HTML. Now let's get into the CSS. Now, so since we have only search bar, I want the search bar to appear at the center. So in that case I'll do display flex align item center, and then justify content center. And to make the justify content work, we need to give height and width. Height of 100% of viewport height, width of 100% of viewport width. Now let's design the hierarchy, and this is the CSS hierarchy. Now let's focus on the wrapper. So we need to have the min width of the wrapper as 450 pixel, and let's give the background color as white, and whatever is there, let that be text align center. Now for the search input field, since I have given width to the parent, let's take the width from the parent. You can make this width 100%. The same goes for the input field. Now for the input field, let's just have the border and outline 9, border 0, outline none, and then we'll have a text shadow over here for the container, text shadow, top bottom 0, left right 2 pixel, spread of 5 pixel, and the color RGBA 0.2. If I make this 1, let's just add this. So actually it's not text shadow, it's box shadow 0.2. And let's just give height to the input field, height of say 55 pixel. If I think that's too much. And once everything is there, let's just have a placeholder so that we see that it's an input field. Placeholder search, and since it's touching edge or left edge of the input field, we give padding top bottom 0 pixel, left right 15 pixel. We can play with the values. Now let's focus on the autocom. Same way, width of 100% for the parent as well, so for the parent and child as well. And we need to remove the list style and make this none. Now we can text align this as we can add padding to the autocom or the input field, top bottom 0, left right 15 pixel, 20 pixel. We can play with the value until we feel that it's fine. And for the input, for the icon, we are going to place it positionally absolute. So in that case, we need to find the parent and give position absolute, position relative. The reason for giving position relative is whenever you are going to use position absolute, its parent should have position relative, or it will think that the parent is body and it will stick accordingly. In this case, position absolute, it's going to be right of 0 and top of 15 pixel. Cool. And zoom in as well. Now we can add the same walk shadow to the autocom div as well. We can reduce the font size for the list item in case if you think that it's too much. We can play with font size 80% or 70%. And for the input field, we can have font size of 110%. If that is too much, 100%. If I type something, we need to have padding 15 pixel and bottom of 0, bottom let's say 5 pixel. And not to forget to give the height to the autocom, or else if we have so much suggestion, it will touch till the bottom of the screen. In that case, 250 pixel, not 25, 250 pixel. Let's see, do we have auto format? Cool. Let's just add some more value. So before that, for the autocom, let's just make overflow y auto. Let me just paste some more values and check whether we're able to have scroll bar or not. Cool, we can have scroll bar. So now for the list item, let's just make opacity 0 and let's just make pointer event none, and for the autocom let's just make display none. Cool. So with the help of JavaScript, when I type something, the auto suggestion will show up. So let's focus on JavaScript. Alright, now let's focus on JS. So I have added some suggestions from keyword2.io. I have created an array called suggestions and I have pasted the array values. Now let's just link the array values suggestion.js file. Now we can access the suggestions using the script.js. Now let me just get all the input field values. Since now we'll do this proper way. Document.query selector. Since we have only input, we'll just directly access the input. Now we are going to add an event. Add event listener, which is keyup. Now we can get the input field value, console.log inp.value. Now you should see the value on the console as I type. Make sure to refresh, type something, and you can see you're getting the value. Now we need to match this value with our suggestion. Now what we can do is we need to create an empty value, empty array, empty empty array, and it will be blank by default. And if we have any value, we'll store this value somewhere. If we have any value, then we need to fill this array. So we need to filter it before anything. Let's just filter it. Suggestions, it's an array we get from the suggestion.js. We'll filter it. We'll be passing the data one by one. Now if there is any match, instead of pasting, let's just return all the array. Return data. Let's see if I type something whether I'm able to get all the values on line number 33. Since there is no line number 33, suggestion. Let's just check the spellings. Let's just fill this into an array. And let's just paste console.log. I'm sorry for that, it's a callback function. We'll be getting all the values in the form of array, and that value is stored in the empty array. Now we need to manipulate this array. Now what we need to do is, you can see some of them are not case sensitive. So what we do is we'll just make this lowercase. So we have a function in JavaScript to locally lowercase. Now again we'll use the same array empty array.map. This time we'll use map function, and again we'll store it to the same, but not inside of filter function but outside of filter function, where this ends. Yeah, over here. Now we can save this. Now we need to return data, and we need to manipulate it as it should be inside list item, and pass the same data over here. Now first it's getting input value and storing it into a empty from array to array. And now since we have array, and now we are using the same array value, and in this time this data will be appended with list item. Now let's check, type something, and all the values should be inside list item. The problem is it's not able to find the value data, so that's the reason it got appended. It appends all the value as data. Now let's see. It's very straightforward. Use the template literal of JavaScript. Just pass the value and type something, and this time all the values are from suggestion.js. Now let's use the startWith function and filter the array with the past data. So this is the past data. Now we can filter it with startWith, and we need to convert it into lowercase. It's a function, I'm sorry for that. Now in this case we'll be returning only the matched value, not the whole array. Refresh this. If I type CSS, okay, it starts with. So as of now it's getting all the values which has C in it. So let's type website, and the last all has website. Now let's see, typing builder, build is there. Now let's see some matched values. Address, let's type address and check. Refresh, address. So there are some values which has E. Let's see how to fix this. In this case we'll be just getting the value which starts from A. So if I type something W, the array will be filled with values which starts with W. So you can see Wix, welcome, website. The same way, let's type something B, we'll get value only the value which starts with B. Now let's try to append the created values in the autocomplete section. Now what we need to do is, so if there is any value, else leave as it is. So we'll create a function over here when there is no data passed, and here show HTML will create a function, and inside this function we'll be passing the array. We know that this array is a collection of list item. By this line, when the JavaScript reads all the function, all the lines of code, it gives the array in the form of a list item. Now we need to manipulate the list item, so let's manipulate that. So create a function. Let me just fix this tray somewhere. So let's create a function. So we will be getting the list. So first we'll create a list HTML variable. It would be blank by default, and if the passed value, which is an which is an array, the empty array will pass and we'll get the empty array over here, and the empty array is not empty. If it's not empty, we need to join all the values of array and store it into the list item, and finally get the autocom div. As of now, let's just comment all. Get the autocom div, it's a class, so dot get the autocom div and append it, dot inner HTML plus equal to, I don't think we need plus because we have joined all. Let's just try now. So this is the autocom, it has no values. Let's type a, and you can see all the values got populated which starts with a. And as of now I have made the opacity 0, so you won't be able to see that, and the autocom is display none, so you can see we get the values. So there is the comma, let's just fix that. It's very simple, we just have to make this, previously it was blank, I've just made this way. Now if I type something, we get without comma. Now we need to add a class called active once the data is filled. Now since we have autocom div, get the autocom div dot class list dot add active. Now we need to do where all place here in the autocom. If the class is active is appended, active is appended, we need to make this display block. And for the list item, we have made the opacity 0 and pointer even none, so we can copy that and give it over here, opacity 1 and pointer event cursor, we can, what's the actual value, it's all. So to avoid override issue, we'll paste this up below. Now let's type something, type a, and we see all the values of a shows up. I think the padding is too much, we can fix that over here. Cool. For the list item, we have to make this value 9. Now if there is any empty value, if I type something called x, that value should show up here. Now for that, what we need to do is here get the input field value. So here we have input, so we'll use the same here. So if there is no match found and if the array is empty, now we need to create equal to list item template literal, pass the input value, and let's see now. Type z and you see z shows up, what you type shows up if there is no any value. So if there is value, the value will be fetched from array and display it over here. Now if there is no any value, this active class should be removed. So in that case, if the value is empty, on keyup we have to play with this. If the value is empty, then remove the class added. That is empty. Add refresh. Type something. Active class is not getting removed. And let's see, we have to get this line inside the if block. Yeah, now it works. Now if I type something, APPLE Apple website, so when I click on it, it should redirect me to that search result. So in that case, we'll use the foreach to get all the list item value in the document. So we have autocomplete. So once this place autocomplete dot query selector all, since we need to get all the list items, we run a for each for loop. Variable I equal to 0, I is greater than array dot length I plus plus. And now since we get, let's just check console.log whether we are able to get all the list items in the document. Console type something A. So there is some problem with this. Let's just see whether we are able to console this first. Console.log. Yep, I made a little typo mistake. It should be less than. Type something and we get all the list item. You can see. Now once we get all the list item, we need to add an attribute called onclick. Set attribute called onclick and redirect. I'm purposely making this typo to avoid already existing function name conflict. So let's just check. If I type something, the last function is not defined, it will listen. Now you can see all the list item has the function called redirect. So we need to define this. We'll be getting the element. So instead of redirecting, what we'll do is now yield dot text content. So whatever is clicked, we'll get that text content. Just check. If I click this, so we're getting the text content, and we need to pass this text content over here. So get the input value and pass the text content. And once we get the value, we need to remove the class from the autocomplete section. Just check. If I type website and click on analytics, we get the analytics.